All right, so going to switch over to this. Not that one. It's this one. There we go. So in 3, 2, 1, play. So what we're seeing right now, everyone, we're just going to turn on the recorded video from the perspective of Nickel Licker. And what we're going to see is we're just going to play this straight through, and we're going to talk about everything that we're seeing right up front. So,
there was some attempted good sportsmanship there that was negated by the going into game.
Yeah.
Right, so what we got?
That's all right.
Got, what? 2 Flame Dawn, 1 Sleepers, and 2 Overseers, 1 GI.
I support
this is going to be good.
Sleepers.
You support the Sleepers.
So what kind of deck are we seeing out of Nickel Licker here? I imagine we're seeing Bionic Soul.
Yes, that sounds about right to me. Bionic Soul.
He's starting with a Cornison in command instead of Secluded Constructor. What's the benefit for going with Tempo instead of guaranteed transfer of power?
Well, against Rush and stuff, it's kind of good to throw out because you get 2 stuff to just chump blockers to just slow it down a little bit.
Right.
Especially against Aspirant.
I mean, to things like precautionary measures and banish using Cornison in command over something like a Constructor.
Yep,
I mean,
absolutely.
If he pulls a banish, you could get rid of that Abomination straight away.
And he happened to pull his Christmas alternate art Secluded Constructor on his first hand. Yes. So I'm very happy that that's in the game, and unless I'm mistaken, we're going to be able to give that out again.
Oh no, that's not as exclusive.
No, not like just giving it out, but you know, I like that we're going to be able to do that seasonal alternate art. I want to bring that back. That was fun.
So right now, what's going on? We've got the soul. He's pulling the soul in the soul zone, which is the obvious thing to do. Just once the Cornican dies, that's also what it does as well. If the Cornican dies, the soul gets his instant gratification buff, and then he's using obviously the constructor to buff it into the into Soul there, who's going to make him nice and big and just hit really fast, really hard.
I think that's all. I think that's all he's going for there. Is the win condition with Soul flying over anything. Yeah. He's got 2 Flame Dawn, so he's not going to be able to force a fight between Evolving Parasite and Soul.
No, he's not. But he's going to be able to push it back.
Because he used Cornison so quickly, I mean, that guy died instantly.
Yeah, that literally. Yeah, Cornison was just to sit there in order to block against the initial Aspirant wave.
Yes. He does have Infested Knight. So if he managed to kill a lot of stuff.
What just happened there? Ha! Nova dropped out right in the middle of talking. Ha ha!
Oh no, Skype.
How's that British internet treating you?
It's great. Oh god. Anyway, what was I saying?
I don't know what you were saying. So he just played Fear.
Vexbane has a drag down in his deck. He could actually really surprise Nickel Licker here by actually getting. Oh well, the Parasite's gone.
Yeah, so he just.
I called that. I called that.
Yeah, he just banished out the Parasite, so that's not even going to happen.
He's gonna probably have 3 more in the deck, so you gotta be careful of what he pulls.
Yep.
So he does have a Lucre in his hand with 2 Angels of Virtue, so that could be pretty damn potent if he plays all that all at once. But he goes for the Lucre.
Guys, chat. Please remember, this is not the Community Wars tournament. Evolving Parasite was not banned. There was no card bans in the Infinity Wars Gold launch tournament.
Yes.
So
that hasn't happened yet. That's next weekend.
Yeah. So don't worry about that.
Yes.
Okay. So he's got a CTA sitting in his hand. So he knows that whatever threat may present himself, if he's able to get Soul out on the front lines, CTA is going to be able to provide him that window of opportunity regardless.
Mm-hmm. Well, this Bromwich now coming out is doing some work. 30 damage. Ouch.
So Nickel Licker's now down to 34. Vexbane's now down to 49. However, he's got Soul out there. He's got Soul out there. He's going to be able to deal 44. So no matter what, I mean, what is Vexbane going to be able to do this turn?
Yep, he needs to
Even
deal.
if he blocks with everything he's done, unless he pulls out another Exhaust or a Stumble.
I'm surprised. Okay, so Nichols is bringing out the constructor itself, so constructing onto it, which is always a very good play to do.
I love that play.
Yeah. A lot of people do it, and a lot of people don't expect it when you do it.
Right. Oh, Commando getting out the constructor before anything.
Well, it's a good stab, but it's a little too late.
Yeah, it's a decent amount of poke, but because he had the footman in the front there rather than the Ember starter, that's going to be GG for game 1. And remember, everyone, this is a best of 5. Unless I'm mistaken, this might be it right here. There was one match that resulted in a desync, and they had to replay it.
Okay. Oh, we got a recurring nightmare. That was a decent.
Excellent pull.
That's a good daily.
That's a good daily, indeed. Yes.
See, that Fox, you bring up a really good point. Fleeting footman from a wealthy noble. Exactly why is this fleeting footman scared of a wealthy noble?
Oh no, man.
Well,
Ethan Noble is a scary man.
Maybe he's gonna hire someone to say something bad about his family. You never know. Very complex political situation on Cal.
That sounds like the Shadow Broker from Mass Effect.
Right.
That would be awesome if that was like an epic wealthy noble. I'd be all for that. Cause like,
oh yeah, no. So like, let's say instead of sacrificing onto the constructor, he sacrificed onto the noble. Then I can understand that footman being absolutely terrified of it.
No one expects the bionic noble.
Yeah, scary. I've done that so many times. I can't even say how many times I've constructed onto the noble. Only to have him be lightning blasted. So let's say Nicolicker doesn't change up his deck. I'm going to say Vexbane does.
Yeah, I can't see why. Yeah, there we go.
Okay. So Nicolicker is still using Bionic Soul, and Vexbane's using 2 Warpath, 1 Genesis with a hulking sniper in command.
Yeah, so
and Alita in command. I'm always a fan of that.
I'm a big fan of picking this deck. This is literally a counter pick against Bionic Soul.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it was a good choice.
Turn 1, getting rid of Soul.
Boom, Soul. But he's got 3 Cornicans going to have on the field, and he's just pulled a War Machine.
Right.
That's going to cause some serious pressure.
Yeah, that's a lot of tempo in Nicolicker's camp.
But I think Vexbane's probably going to have a Walrus of some kind.
Not putting out the support drone. He noticed that he did not have priority, realized it would be a waste.
Right.
So he just went with the Cornicid instead.
Absolutely. Yes. Chat, I understand that Nova and Easterune are significantly lower than I am. I have them very loud in my ears right now, so I don't know why that is. Literally every time I call someone on Skype and stream that conversation, they're significantly lower than I am, even though on my volume mixer I have Skype literally blasting.
That is a green hand almost right there.
Yeah, he's going to be able to really rush out that War Machine.
If this is the same deck from what we saw last match, which it pretty much is, he pulled an entirely different hand. It's an entirely different playstyle just from his hand.
Yep. Previously, he was focusing on the Bionic Soul concept. He didn't alter his deck at all in between matches, and he happens to draw a completely different playstyle.
Yeah, and he's going to have a 16-16 out on next turn, which is going to start putting some real pressure on Vexbane.
This is very impressive.
Oh wow!
So he's
fight. Here we go.
There we go. So now let's look at the War Machine fight concept here. Nicolicker has an exceptional amount of board advantage, while Vexbane doesn't have the ability to create fodder for War Machine. Is War Machine going to be anywhere near as effective for Vexbane as it clearly is being for Nicolicker?
Well, it's going to take 2 to 3 turns to come online properly. And he's just pulled the Angel of Virtue, which is going to buff everything up even more, and he's still going to be pumping out massive creatures. So he's got a struggle on his hands. To say the least.
I'm not a huge fan of Vexbane's commander choice for this. If you're going for GI, Lead a Caretaker is not one of the best choices. Yeah, it can help protect some of your weaker stuff, but if you're going for something like War Machine, if you're going for token spam, I mean, it's really not the best choice you can get.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan.
Primal Hunter, though, so.
Right. I'm not really a fan of War Machine in Vexbane's deck here. I can understand what he's going for, but it occurs to me that for a deck like what Vexbane is playing, it's really necessary to sustain board pressure. And War Machine forces you to not only have little tiny creatures to feed into War Machine, but if you don't have those creatures and you're still focusing on War Machine, you're removing your board presence.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Nikolic is just pumping them out left, right, and center. And he does have that 6 cost in his hand as well, which is going to give them a huge.
Yeah, he's got precautionary measures.
Just gonna smash into.
And notice how he's waiting to throw that out there. And
he's only got like 2 or 3 things in the graveyard, so there's not much point.
No, that's the point. He's waiting for precautionary measures to actually be worthwhile, and once it is, that's going to be a very heavy hit.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's just waiting it out. Like, he could go all out at this point and still be ahead.
Right.
But he's holding back to make sure to kind of guarantee it.
Right.
More than anything.
He's playing very passive.
Yeah. Vexbane's doing the same. He's trying to
Vexbane is also playing very passive. I like that. I like that here.
There's I'm gonna call it now. There's gonna be one turn where everyone goes all out with everything, and it all happens in one turn.
Everybody's gonna spend that banish on though.
I don't really see a high priority target for Banish. I think he needs to hold on to it.
Yeah, I mean, he could put it on the later, but he needs another one to make it worthwhile.
He might put it on the hulking sniper, but he doesn't have priority this turn, so.
Oh, he's banishing on the.
Put it on the brings life by passing.
Just get rid of one of the resources. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a safe play.
Resource advantage is always good.
Yep. Safe plays are smart.
Is he going to use these though?
I bet he's going to swap out that.
I'm also interested that he hasn't put out the Wealthy Noble.
He doesn't need to at this point.
He doesn't need to, but unstable Bombot. But look at his assault zone. Look at Nicolicker's assault zone. So that's down to 20 health. Unstable Bombot is at 8.
Well, it's going to go first before precautionary measures, so that won't help. But there's still the 2 War Machines. Those are nothing to laugh at.
Yeah, if Nikolic got sense, he'll pull everything back apart from the constructs he's made from War Machine.
He's pulling back his flyers because he can get rid of the other guys. That's just fodder for precautionary measures.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, he wants them dead, and he shuffles in the Noble, exactly. Oh, then Angel of Virtue next turn. Or he's even playing it this turn, which would make a lot more sense.
Yeah, his other one died already, didn't he?
He's got initiative, so I could very easily see the Rush being able to overtake the Unstable Bombot's power no matter what.
I'm going to call it and say Vexbane's not going to use the Bombot this turn.
He's feeding War Machine.
So we'll see how we. It's just more of a stall.
Everything. He'll be up to a 12 next turn. That wouldn't be that bad.
Okay, and he Unstable Bombot. He kept it on the field. Vexbane throws out a scouting mission. I don't really think Vexbane has an out here.
Nope, that's it.
That's GG. There's 34 to the face. 78-0. GG Vexbane.
I don't think you should have played the War Machine, Vexbane. You should have done something else.
Right.
I think. Because playing the War Machine is obviously going to be behind his opponent. He's got less characters, less board advantage.
Yeah, I think
it was detrimental to him.
I do believe that, unless I'm mistaken, that was the desync match. So that one's going to have to be replayed.
Okay, that was the desync match. Okay.
Yep. Yeah, that was the desync match. That's it. So let's talk about what we're seeing. Yeah.
That is the desync.
Yeah. So let's talk about what we're seeing out of Vexbane. Easteroon, can you talk to me about what you're seeing out of his playstyle so far?
For Vexbane or for Nikolicker?
Vexbane.
Vexbane? Well, the first deck he came out with is something that I'm pretty much a fan of. I really like going one sleeper, double Flame Dawn. You have a lot of options with things like, what am I thinking of? The 3 Ferocity.
Sacculus and Awaken.
Sacculus, Awaken somewhat. The more thing that I think is Fear plus Ferocity. You can really pump out some serious damage with something like that. People usually don't expect it coming. They expect the Saculus. They don't expect a 9/6 Ember Starter to tap them twice in the front of the face, especially when you blow all of their defenders away. I think there's a lot more in-game potential there if you throw in one sleeper as opposed to going pure Flame Dawn.
Yeah.
The second game, I'm not sure what he was doing with his command zone. I am really not a fan of GI mixing with Warpath. I think there's a lot better things you could have picked. Especially if he was worried about Overseers, why didn't he throw in Descendants of Dragons? A little DOD in there would have gone a long way, and with Alita there in command, she could have buffed up all of his own stuff so that it wouldn't die to Yanshi's wrath.
That's true. What purpose could Genesis Industries serve in that kind of a deck, especially if you're only attempting to counter Bionic Soul?
The thing is, if you put like stuff that has haste on it, haste buffing into things with Constructor is extremely powerful. So like if you had drop bears and potentially rabbits or something like that, but then the thing is, like, you've got Wolf coming out in the next set, which isn't out yet, and that would be more playable with that kind of style.
If he had Caretaker of the Young in command there and was just spamming out tokens to fuel War Machine, I could actually see that kind of working. But I really don't see the sort of Alita in command with the War Machine. That was kind of confusing.
Yeah, I don't really necessarily see a large amount of tempo value in trying to combine the beefiness of Warpath with the slow play that War Machine necessitates.
Yeah, it's like beefing up beef, isn't it?
Yeah, you're going about it in an interesting way, and I'm just not sure that War Machine was the right way to go with Genesis there. I can see Genesis if he's trying to use the board control and utility that Single Purity Genesis provides. I don't see War Machine being a large amount of tempo or value in that kind of a deck, because you're not focusing on the tiny breeding tactics of Warpath, which may feed into War Machine but may also be very slow. You're looking at feeding the beefiness of Warpath, which is inherently slow. So
I some ramp with things like cannon fodder and laser cannon. I could see that having worked a bit better, just using GI for support, because that's one thing Warpath does lack. It doesn't have a lot of board clear. Cannon fodder and laser cannon, that can clear the board pretty fast.
Right.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised he didn't have any laser cannons in there, because it's an extremely good card in this meta right now. I mean, 15 damage for 5 is just...
Yeah.
For 15 damage, which is just insane.
Laser cannon is beautiful.
Lasers, we cannot negate that.
Yeah. Yeah, laser cannon is substantial in this meta simply because of how fast the meta can go at this current time. 15 damage can stop a lot.
15 damage can stop a soul 1.5 times.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
15 damage can do quite a bit. What would you see in that kind of a deck rather than Genesis if you're attempting to specifically counter Bionic Soul?
Ooh, that's rough.
And keep in mind that clearly, and this is something I have to give to Nickel Licker right off the bat, his deck was designed with a contingency. He did not need Soul to win that match.
No, he didn't.
No, Soul was a giant lightning rod in all honesty.
Yeah, Soul was a big target with a massive bullet on his back, and you have to give it to him. His deck was designed with a plan B. That's good.
I've seen that a lot with Overseers, is you have a lightning rod card, and I've seen that with not just Overseers, sleepers too, oddly, tend to have lightning rod cards, where you just want people to focus them. The only reason they exist is to force people to deal with them.
Oh, sure. I've seen people who are running 2 sleepers have Patient Zero in their command just to bait out the Banish.
Yeah, if I run Patient Zero in command, I never use his ability. He just sits there. Occasionally, I'll send him onto the battlefield for Infect to take over and just like kill something that way. But his ability is almost a trap. Yeah,
Patient Zero is one of the slowest commanders in the game. But people view his effect as significantly potent. No, interesting.
Changed up what's actually in there, though. So
right, but he has not changed his command zone at all. So chat, what we're seeing here is Vexbane went back to the deck that he used in the first match. His Evolving Parasite, Knight of the Flame Dawn, and Bromic Field Commander Command Zone combination.
Well, it's almost kind of lucky he had that desync. Like, I'm not saying that he did it intentionally, of course, because that can happen at the most random of times.
And I didn't see any card that was known to cause desyncs. Vex was in chat saying I might want to look at Unstable Bombot, and perhaps that was it. But it is what it is. A desync happened. They're playing another second match. We'll see what happens. Turn down my mic a little bit. What if I don't want to? You can't control me.
Just playing out the Soul. Soul's just doing some nice damage. The Paladin and stuff like that doing some alright damage for now. Just kind of
he's playing into the basic. Yep, and he's playing into the basic tempo right now.
With Bromwich against this deck, it's quite good because he's there's not much counterplay to Bromwich in Nicola's deck. So usually, as we were talking earlier about having kind of bait commanders, you leave the bait commanders there and you don't really play them just to kind of bait out stuff, and you think, oh, is he going to play this turn? And Bromwich is definitely one of them. But in this turn, like, Bromwich is actually going to be worthwhile. Because he has
Bromic's doing work.
2 precautionary measures, and he just played Heaven's Assistance.
That Heaven's Assistance was very timely.
Yeah,
and
he just drew that the turn before too, didn't he?
Yeah, he's got Heaven's Assistance, 2 precautionary measures, and a Guns of Goliath.
The Guns of Goliath is almost overkill. It's like, why even bother?
Like that, he's got 2 precautionary measures, Guns of Goliath, and Angel of Virtue.
And then he's going to spare one if that dies as well.
Right. So. Okay, so Exhaust comes out on Soul. So at this point, Vexbane is just mitigating the damage from Nicolicker. And he just pulled a Luca.
Oh wow.
Good lord.
Wow, okay.
Literally pulled every buff available to him.
Those precautionary measures, because there's no point having 2. Once you use
wow.
one, having the other.
Wow. Once you use one, you kind of want to win with that. So yeah, you called it. Yeah. He's got
Banish.
to take out the abomination.
So he's likely going to save that Banish for the Parasite.
What's the Parasite gonna do? Parasite's on the ground. I mean, he's flying.
Oh, he pressed Bromwich Banner at least, so there is going to be some more damage coming out.
Yeah.
He's going to lose the Knight and the Paladin.
So the Paladin's going to take out the Follower. So this is 24.
It's not bad for 2 characters.
It's not. It's not.
It's not bad at all.
So we're at 48 to 22, and in this turn, unless Vexbane has a fear, what does he have?
Well, let's hope he does, because otherwise there's not much he can do here. The banish going on.
Collector doesn't even know if he wants to bother banishing that. He's like, I guess I can.
Wow. Okay, and he plays a Noble out just to be on the safe side as well, just in case.
Oh, that splitter bot is so big just by accident.
Oh, there's a Parasite, and Saculus comes out.
Ooh.
Okay, so that's GG right there. He does not have 40. Yep.
Yeah, one more turn. Maybe could have done something and pulled it around, but
all right. So that's
still that splitter, which could have done some work.
No, that definitely could have had some effect on it if there was another turn available to him, but there wasn't. So that's GG. So Nicolicker and Vexbane are now 2-0, and we're gonna move on to the third match. Remember, this is a best of 5. So do we think Vexbane is gonna switch decks again?
He better, because that is clearly not gonna do the job.
It's not, is it? No. So we'll have to see if he chooses the Warpath one again. I don't think he's going to go his way either.
What is this? What is this?
Nicolicker can afford to switch it up for something.
Yeah.
Counter.
Is he changing decks? No. Okay.
No,
all right. Okay.
Well, he can
oh man.
He's got 2 more free losses, as it were.
Yes.
That was
experiment a bit more.
Right, and that would have been interesting if he switched decks. That I saw him hovering on 1 Flame Dawn 2 GI rush. Interesting.
GI can move really fast.
Oh, GI can rush. GI can absolutely rush.
Yeah. Infected Drone, a later. Turn 2, 10-10.
Yep.
Well, honestly, just a first turn support drone is a 5-5.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, exactly, yeah.
Absolutely. And any GI rush with Aletta in command can just do work.
They're kind of...
Oh, Sarge.
Decks with Aletta and Commander.
Sarge. One thing to understand about the higher end ranked players, they have massive deck lists, and they're all named like either based on the purities or with really weird names.
So he's going for.
Okay. He has gone back to the
Noble
original
this
deck.
turn.
He has gone back to the original deck, Vexbane.
So this is the double Warpath GI deck that we saw in the desync match of Game 2.
Yeah, it's just the count of the soul.
Not a Noble.
Yeah.
So yeah, he
both
is
nobles,
just getting outsold.
Oh, double Noble. Ooh.
Interesting. And again, notice
it's only 10-3.
notice that one more time against this deck, Nickel Licker draws Secluded Constructor turn 1.
Yeah, I know. He always to pull his War Machine. He's probably got 2 in the deck, I'd say. I wouldn't say he got 3, but at least 2.
I would say at least
even
2.
1.
So far we've seen the regular Secluded Constructor, which he's playing now, and in the first time we saw this setup, support drone onto the Wealthy Noble. Go Wealthy Noble, do work.
Yes.
Do
Double
work.
Just have 2
banish,
banish.
that's gonna hurt.
That's interesting.
He's got
So
the
yeah,
boost as well.
he's got the banish, so that can get rid of the hulking sniper. He's got Luca Ascended that he just
He's
played
gonna
out.
buff that. He's gonna
So
buff
that's going to be a
something.
2/2 to everything. And that Splitterbot's now a 12/12, as you just mentioned. So he can sacrifice that onto anything and box that other splitter on Vexbane's side rather easily.
He's gonna go on Luca next turn.
Oh, he did nothing. So he's got 3 banishes.
Banishes.
So
3 banishes.
Whatever on the field needs to die, it's getting removed from the game. Really.
He can get rid of that Aletta.
Right now.
Yeah, he can get rid of the Aletta if he wanted to.
It's his priority. So yeah, he still could. That's 24 damage.
Yeah, so it's his priority. He's buffing it all into the
he's
Luca.
only got 2 this turn that he could do it. So if he went for it, theoretically,
Yeah,
he
he
could live.
didn't go for it. So he
Yeah,
sacrificed the
don't-
Splitter Bot. He sacrificed both Splitter Bots.
That's gonna hurt really bad.
Oh, the hulking sniper onto Luca. Good play, Vexbane. Vexbane,
His
that was
priority.
beautiful.
That's where a very good example of priority.
Oh, there's Banish going out onto Unstable.
Yeah.
So that's a kill
But the bomb bot
from
could
that
still go off,
strategy
though.
right there.
Bomb bot could still go off.
Still go off, but it's not gonna kill the splitter bots.
No,
No.
it's gonna get rid of the Cornus in defense, and that's about it.
That just fuels precautionary measures, though.
Yeah,
so.
exactly. So he doesn't care about Nickel Licker doesn't care about it. He's like,
Right.
It dies.
Okay, so he simply buffed up Unstable. Banish is gonna come out, and that's gonna get rid of it. Guns of Goliath. Wow. Okay, so Guns of Goliath is gonna do work here.
He has pulled a War Machine, so
Yep.
that could potentially catch him up after a couple of turns. Because, I mean, 72, 79, he could still anyway.
Well, at this current time,
It's
at least right at this moment, it is a dead draw in terms of tempo.
yes. I think Nickel Licker has the slight advantage with the 2 banishes in the hand, but obviously we can't see Vexbane's hands either. So we don't know what he's
Another
doing.
Luca.
Another Luca coming out. Another
So
Corona
this is
coming out.
Yeah, just to block a little bit more damage.
I'd say I'd go all out with the splitter bots at this point, but he's pulling back for a turn. Because the thing is, War Machine, when there's a War Machine out, you always have to put pressure on. If you
Right.
don't put any pressure on, there's kind of... You're going to lose against the War Machine.
I'm kind
A lot
of
of
wondering
time.
why he is pulling the splitter bots back. What is
Yeah, I
he
don't-
worried about?
No, I understand the strategy here. He understands that if those 2 splitters go, that's fodder for that War Machine, along with the 2 Wealthy Nobles, along with the support drone. He is playing right into War Machine. Whereas if Vexbane has to use War Machine right now, he is removing board presence.
That is true, but still pushing out the 2 Nickel Licker's 2 splitter bots just into Assault, just to do some damage, would have probably been more worthwhile.
Oh, scouting mission.
Oh, that is a lot of things on the field really quick.
Oh, he's just pulled precautionary measures though, and there's quite a lot.
Ooh,
of
how
stuff.
much is
Oh,
in
he's
his-
had like
Oh, there he goes. He wants to know too.
it does, yeah. There's
Was that
only 4 or 5.
in the graveyard?
It's 5, yeah.
This is interesting. This tempo is interesting. Nickel Licker has options.
He's going for it. He's like, screw this, I'm going for
All
it.
he has to
Precautionary
do
measures.
is kill the 2 hulking snipers, because he has priority. So whatever he plays, it doesn't matter. Luca's gonna live because she's gonna get buffed up. If he secludes
So
her,
he's gonna banish out one of the
that
splitter
could be
bots.
huge.
Interesting.
Well, just that turn, it won't be able to attack or do anything. So.
There
Right.
he goes. He's gonna buff her up.
Yep. That Luca's gonna be massive.
Wow, yes.
That Luca's gonna be
Indeed.
really beefy. So anyone who is a fan of Luca understand that she's been working out. I wouldn't. I would recommend holding a door open for that.
Oh god, imagine it.
Well, those wings tie into the pectoral muscles.
Oh, hang on, analytic on me now. Oh god, he goes all out though.
Okay,
Ooh, wow.
so
Okay.
Vexbane's going all in. This is not enough from Nickel Licker's end to
Oh,
do
that was
anything.
not-
Oh,
not
this
hot,
is
no,
getting good. This is
No,
getting good.
hot.
Okay, Martyr Golem's out. Primal Hunter's still on the field. That's 39. Vexbane,
Oh, yeah. That's close.
2 precautionary measures.
I don't know how he's gonna stop that.
At this point, I have to say Vexbane has
It's gonna be a
tempo.
rush. It's a rush. It's a rush. That's it. That's all that's
It all
happening right now.
depends on what Vexbane throws in the support zone and in what order now.
Are they just going to base race?
Mm,
They could just base race here and force a tie.
yeah.
All he needs is one hulking sniper at the end of this chain to stop Luca, and I think he's good. He has to block all the others.
What
that's
is
all
he
he
going
needs.
to do with Luca though? He has to get through that initial wave of assault, and then have hulking sniper work on Luca.
Yeah. He's putting
Is
all
that-
his baskets in Luca right now? All his baskets, and the precautionary measures is coming out. So
I
that's it.
swear to God, if I see an assassinate right now, I'm going to die laughing.
Or the best cold shot. In
I would love to see an assassinator or a cold shot right now.
Oh my god. Well, cold shot is still on a lot of decks. Cold shots are still on a lot
Oh
of
yeah,
decks.
I run at the very least one called shot in the overwhelming
do as well,
majority of general style decks, not niche decks, but in general decks, I will generally run at least one called shot.
You generally
I mean,
run them
if
in
you're a good
general
player, you
decks.
predict well, you're gonna get 90% of your cold shots off anyway.
What is Vexbane going to do here? Okay, so hulking sniper in defense.
Ooh,
That's not
that's
enough.
a good place. For
What is?
Yeah, he was
That's-
just hoping it would be only Luca.
Yeah, that's not going to be enough.
That's a good bet to make.
That's not enough.
It's because of the precautionary
Oh,
measures. Precautionary measures, like that's just done it.
But he buffed up secluded constructor just enough to survive
Oh,
that
was
attack.
So
Oh,
close.
10 damage.
That's
Oh.
10. Just because of sacrificing that one card
Should've
onto
gone all
secluded constructor.
The thing is, if Vexbane went all out with all his cards in his support zone,
He would have forced a tie there. And on the contrary, he could have actually moved that game forward another turn if he had set up his defense zone properly to handle Luca. He could have survived that turn.
He could have won that turn depending on how he plays stuff. Like if he
Depending
got-
on how he set up, there was a whole bunch of different outcomes riding on that turn right there. However, Nickel Licker set himself up perfectly. Vexbane could have done some very different things, but no matter how you look at it, Nickel Licker was, in the driver's seat.
Yeah, that's true. The thing is, if Vexbane put everything in defense as well, which is a very good option as well that he could have taken instead of the rush down, he could have defended it all. And because the Luca's not got unstoppable, he could have blocked Luca for days with all those flying drones he had.
Right.
So he could have
So-
done that and kind of outlasted him that way and killed all of his ground units, which he easily could have done that turn.
Right.
That's one of those final. Well, it's the end game turn one way or another. It's not-
Yeah,
Yeah.
no,
it's
that
the game,
that
that
turn
or
that turn right there had so much riding on it.
Yeah.
So that was a very good match to watch. I hope everyone enjoyed that match.
Yes, it's fun.
That third match right there was really, really good. Vexbane, Nickel Licker, if you guys are in the chat, Vexbane, I see you. Both of you guys played very, very well. So congratulations to both of you. Vexbane, that means you are third place in the tournament, and we're going
Congratulations,
to...
bro.
Yeah, congratulations. We are going to move forward with the match between Nickel Licker and Zanpakuto. So before we move on to that, let's talk about what we just saw. So we saw a lot of Bionic Soul there. Nova, let me get your thoughts on that best of 5.
It It was pretty good. He's mostly fairly one-sided for the most part. I see Vexbane obviously with his 2 Warpath deck trying to kind of counter the Soul, but it was kind of okay. I'm just going to throw this a later in command and have the Hulking Sniper just for the Soul, and it seemed like he could have just had a Hulking Sniper there and gone 2 GI, and it would have been more profitable because having a GI later instead of the Caretaker would have been a lot better. Just in the general gist of the deck with more splitter bots, and later you can do so much work throughout an entire match. I mean, +3/+3 every turn, it's a lot. So probably that was a mistake in choosing that, potentially. But for the most part, both players played really well. I know Nikolic is a very, very good player and a very competent player. And the Bionic Soul is very much like kind of Bionic Paladin, but just a little bit of a different twist on it with a bit more control. And I know Bionic Paladin is still around, but it can be countered by a lot of things, like a Hubris, for example. Like one Hubris could sort out this entire deck.
Right, and Hubris can do the exact same thing to any Bionic deck if you're looking at Bionic Paladin or Bionic Soul.
Of course, yes. I mean, Bionic Drop Bears are the best decks ever, trust me.
Oh. But I mean, let's say you're looking at Bionic Soul, and everyone asks, what can counter it? What good is a 2-life, multi-strike, flying 1/1?
You got to kill it before it gets ascended. That's basically, when you see it, you're like, right, I'm going to try not push anything out because he's going to have corner-kuns early on to defend with and stuff like that. So you want to have things that you can kill it with early on. AG, the Hulking Sniper, Banish, things like that. Double Lightning Blast. You want stuff that can kill it early on before it gets 2 lives, because then that's where it gets difficult.
And it was actually pretty funny. I was in global chat one time, and imagine that, me in global chat. So someone, crazy. Someone asked. They didn't ask. They were talking about the most played cards in the game, and people were throwing out absolute absurdity. Talking about random cards that say one person strongly dislikes. And they say, this is the most played card in the game. I hate it. It needs to be nerfed. And I actually pulled up our metrics. It's not something I usually do. I don't generally call out players. It's not very polite. But I had to know, because I actually didn't know that. And it turned out that for the past 3 weeks, the most single commonly played card in the game was Hulking Sniper.
Really?
Wow, okay, that's really interesting.
And
because of the good one.
Exactly, and that doesn't tell me that Warpath is being played more often than not. It's that people are making decks specifically to counter Overseers.
Which makes a lot of sense in this current meta at the moment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Overseers Rush is really strong.
It is very strong.
For one that can block flying, even if it doesn't hit flying the first turn, it's still a good play.
It is.
Exactly.
4/4 for 1. No matter what you're doing, you're still gaining tempo.
Yeah, that bank of 1-cost cards that came out for each faction, aside from one in particular, they were all good.
Let's not even talk about that faction. But you know just as well as anyone else, Intimidating Monk is easily my favorite 1-drop. I love that card.
Yeah, I do as well.
So much.
Yeah, I kind of have to agree with you on that one. Being a DoD fan, of course.
Yeah, and I know how big of a DoD guy you are, but
of course,
just in terms of getting that 1-drop advantage, Intimidating Monk is just strong.
Although Commando, I'd say Commando is above the curve on all of them, though.
Commando is very limited in how you can play first turn. Disease Zombie, I know. I generally run 1. I generally run it just in the command zone, because when you throw it out there, you hit a commander with poison, all of a sudden people are like, well, crap, now I got to deal with that.
Right.
It puts a clock on a lot of those commanders.
And both of those cards really shine early game, where they have that 1-drop. But, past turn 6 or 7, what are they to you? You have a lot more priorities than getting 4 damage out there. You have a lot more priorities than trying to reduce something's power by 4. You have a lot more priorities than trying to deal 1 damage worth of poison every turn. They really shine in the early game. Absolutely.
Oh yeah.
But their playability is exceptionally limited as you move later in the game. Except, at least in my eyes, Intimidating Monk. Intimidating Monk is still highly valuable later in the game.
Yeah, true. But then you could, I'd still say the same of Commando, because Commando, as you said, it's not really a turn 1 play, because there's not much stuff that's usually out on the board unless you can predict there's a noble coming out from command, which doesn't happen very often.
Right, and especially with Flame Dawn.
It's more of a turn 2-3 play, because you're like, right, he's just played that, so I'm going to counter him straight away, or it's killing ramp. That's what it's really good for.
Right.
It's
absolutely.
It's like a great 1-cost restricted Firebolt.
Fair.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair.
And you get a 4-2 on top of that as well.
And the 4-2 is just bonus.
Yeah, exactly.
So let's move on to what we saw out of Nickel obviously the winner of this best of 5 series, and progresses to the final match against Big Zanpakuto. So what have we seen out of Nickel? Do we think that he's going to continue using this Bionic Soul deck? What are our predictions moving forward into the finals? Let's start with Nova.
I don't know, because I've seen Nickel play before. I think he actually knocked me out of this tournament, actually.
I actually do want to see that. Well, keep talking. I'm going to look at that.
All right. I think he did. Don't quote me on it, but he might have done. I think with a mill deck as well, so he does play a lot of different stuff, and he's obviously seen by his deck list, he's got a lot of different stuff he could play, and he was thinking about other decks as well, but he was like, this is tried and proven in this game, I don't want to risk it, I'll just play this one. But no, he could probably go quite far. I think he could win this, depending on what... It just depends on the matchups, really. It depends on what everyone picks, if they counter pick, I expect in the final matches, you're probably going to see a more variety of decks, because it's the finals. You want to counter each other. You want to pick decks that are against each other. You want to take time in between the matches to actually kind of mix up your deck and play around with it to counter your opponent. Otherwise, it's going to be a very difficult fight. Otherwise,
right.
Yeah.
So, Istarun, let's hear from you. Actually, really quickly, this is interesting. You were actually knocked out of the winner's bracket by the winner of the winner's bracket, Zanpakuto. Okay. Back down to the loser's bracket, you were knocked out by Logad. Okay. So, Logad, I know you're here. Good job. Thanks for knocking out Nova. But
he deserves to get knocked down a peg.
So Istarun, let's hear from you. I'd actually like to talk about Zanpakuto. This is a completely unknown name to me. I know him. I am aware of him. But we rarely see from this. We rarely hear from this player. He doesn't talk very often in global chat. I haven't seen him on the ranked ladder. Where in the world did Zanpakuto come from? He has beaten some of the best players in this game.
Well, if you look at how even just Nickel deck list, he has done a lot of research. I think it's not just on what decks he's made. I think it looks like he's done a lot of research on the type of people he might fight. I think when he walked into this match, I think he says, I have a plan for this. I kind of know what my opponent is like a little bit. I think he really planned to go with something that he thought would be a strong pull.
The question was actually about Big Zanpakuto.
Yeah, and Zanpakuto, like you said, I honestly before this tournament I hadn't heard of it at all, and I lurk in global a lot. It seems like I never sleep. I actually do. It's just a very weird sleep schedule, and I think a lot of Nickel strengths in planning is useless against someone like Zanpakuto, because what do you expect? The only thing he can really find out is by talking to other players in the tournament, if he chose to do so. I don't know if he did or not.
Right.
And even then, what's stopping Zanpakuto from just picking something completely different?
This is a very unknown player. And for let's look at who he went through. So in the first match, he was against Legion 346. Frequenter of the forums. We all know him. Great guy. Beat him.
Legion.
Yep. That Glock guy. He's been a frequent of quite a few of these tournaments. He's been in this stream frequently. Went through him. Next match was against Nova Blue. I don't know if anyone knows who Nova Blue is, but Zanpakuto beat him too.
That guy,
in the next match, he went against Critical. For those who aren't aware of who Critical is, I know if Prozac is in the stream, Critical and Prozac at one point were friends. Critical came over from Scrolls as one of the highest ranked players in that game and dominated Infinity Wars for a good long while. Zanpakuto beat him. In the next match, in the semifinals of the winner's bracket, he went through Heart.
Good lord. That's a bit of an all-star lineup.
He had to run a strong gauntlet in order to get through the winner's bracket.
I don't know if you'd actually call him a dark horse though, because he's been around. He's been in.
Yeah, no, I know Zanpakuto because he's actually been in a couple of my tournaments pauper tournaments that I've hosted.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's just
so
but
I think he went away for a while.
It seems.
Yeah, he's obviously coming back and kicking ass.
He is definitely kicking ass, and to go through that kind of a roster, no matter who you are, even if you've been in Infinity Wars for years, that's still impressive. That is still very impressive. And for those in the chat saying that Zanpakuto might be an alt, I assure you I looked at that. He is not.
No, he's not. I remember the name from Twitch.
Yeah, he's been around for a while. He's just a very silent person. And for him to be doing what he's done is exceptionally impressive. So I'm very interested in this match. We know that Nicolicker is a very strong player. As you said, Easterun, he's done his research. He has some exceptionally well-prepared decks, as we saw with his Bionic Soul, designed with a contingency in it. Most people don't think of a contingency when preparing their decks. So we know Nicolicker is ready. Is Zanpakuto ready? And that's what we're going to find out in this next Best of 5 series.
I'm just going to throw this out there. Given the people that he's beaten, I think he's ready. I think he's prepared.
Okay. I mean, he obviously walked through... I wouldn't say walked, but he went through some exceptionally tough players. And for anyone to go through players like Nova, Critical, then Heart, and continue to come out victorious, that's just impressive. And you have to tip your hat to someone who has that kind of ability.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just checking now. He was actually in my Infinity Wars tournament 6, the final, the one before the final round of my Infinity Wars tournament.
Fair enough.
He won the first round and not knocked out the second, unfortunately.
Fair enough.
But I swear he's been in other tournaments before. But I just haven't.
Yeah, no, we've seen him around for a while. Just a very silent player, and I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to move on to the next Best of 5. We're going to take a quick break first. Nova, Easterun, thank you so much both for joining me. This has been a lot of fun, and I'm very much so looking to the next match. And obviously, I will have a highlight of this up on Twitch. We'll put it up on YouTube as soon as that's done. So thank you both for joining me.
No worries.
Vexbane, I know you're in the chat right now. GG, congratulations on third place. You played very well. So
definitely good game, well played.
Absolutely. Unfortunately, however, there is no re. So.
That's hard.
All right, Nova, Easterun, thank you so much for joining me. I hope you enjoy the rest of the stream. Both of you have a good rest of your day.
I will do. Thank you very much, and take it easy.